To my left is my Solicitor General, Heidi Perry Stern, and to my right is my General Counsel, Leslie Nino Pirro. We're here today to talk about an executive order that recently issued. A few days after Mr. Trump was declared the winner of the election, I issued a statement congratulating him. Soon after that, Mr. Trump and his allies began making statements that instilled fear and trepidation into certain communities throughout Nevada. As a result, I issued a second statement, reiterating my acknowledgement that Mr. Trump was indeed our president-elect and that he had every right to implement his policies. But I also noted that should the day ever come, and should the need ever arise, my office would be, and I quote, a bulwark against any efforts to impose unconstitutional mandates, override our system of checks and balances, or intrude upon the rights of any Nevada resident, unquote. That day has come, and the need has arisen. Within hours of Mr. Trump being sworn in as our 47th president, he violated the Constitution by issuing an executive order purporting to limit what is commonly known as birthright citizenship. Let me offer, and that background unfortunately begins in the darkest chapter of American history, slavery. We all know that for centuries, enslaved Africans and their descendants were denied basic rights and humanity. This dehumanization culminated in the infamous Dred Scott versus Sanford decision of 1857, where our Supreme Court ruled that black people, whether enslaved or free, could never be citizens of the United States. In fact, our Supreme Court declared that black people had, and I quote, no rights which the white man was bound to perpetuate oppression. It was the Civil War and the 14th Amendment that ultimately remedied. The 14th Amendment's Citizenship Clause declared, and I quote, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Yet, even after the 14th Amendment, the meaning of birthright citizenship was tested. In 1898, in the Wong Kim Ark decision, our Supreme Court addressed whether, for instance, Chinese immigrants who were barred from naturalization by discriminatory laws were entitled to citizenship. The court said yes, and it affirmed that the 14th Amendment's promise applied to all children born on U.S. soil, regardless of their parents' origin. That decision fortified the principle of citizenship by birthright, and it ensured that America remained the land of opportunity for immigrants and their descendants. Interpreting the 14th Amendment otherwise would also, as our Supreme Court said, and I once again quote, it would deny citizenship to thousands of persons of English, Scotch, Irish, German, or other European parentage who have always been considered and treated as citizens of the United States, unquote. Mr. Trump, in this executive order, purports to, and again, Mr. Trump has every right to implement his immigration policies, but he must do so constitutionally. Yet his blatant attack on birthright citizenship directly offends the Constitution. Accordingly, a few hours ago, I sued Mr. Trump in federal court for violating the United States Constitution, as well as the Immigration and Nationality Act and 2 U.S. Supreme Court decisions. If allowed to stand, this executive order would mean that some babies born in Nevada who would have been citizens would no longer enjoy the privileges and benefits of citizenship. Individuals who are stripped of their birthright citizenship lose most basic rights and will live under a threat of deportation. They will lose their ability to obtain a Social Security number and as they age to work lawfully. They will lose their right to vote, to serve on juries, and to run for office. They will lose their eligibility for a wide range of federal benefits programs. Despite the Constitution's guarantee of citizenship, thousands of children, for the first time, will lose their ability to fully and fairly be a part of America's. In addition to harming hundreds of thousands of Nevada residents, this filing explains that today's order significantly harms Nevada itself. Among other things, this order will cause states to lose federal funding for programs that they administer, such as Medicaid, the Children's Health Insurance Program, and foster care and adoption assistance programs, which all in turn are based on the immigration status of residents being served. States will also be required, on no notice and at the considerable expense of their own, to immediately begin modifying their operation and administration of benefits and the programs to account for this change. This significantly burdens multiple states and multiple state agencies that operate programs for the benefit of Nevada residents. Our filing explains that the states should not have to bear these dramatic costs while our case proceeds because the order is directly contradicting the language of the Constitution. It also violates the Immigration and Nationality Act and, again, 2 U.S. Supreme Court decisions. Look, after decades of Washington failing to fix our immigration system, taking away citizenship from people, country, is not the answer. It's not smart, and it's not constitutional. And I'll do everything in my power to stop it. I'll close as I began. Mr. Trump has every right to pursue his campaign promises, including in the immigration context, but he must do so lawfully. When he violates the law, I will be there to defeat him in court. Such is the case today, and let's hope that it need not occur again. And with that, I'll take a few questions.
What's the timeline for potential enjoyment?
I'm sorry?
What's the timeline for potential enjoyment of the executive order?
The order itself gives itself 30 days to go into effect. We filed our lawsuit in preliminary injunction, and it's going to go through the course of judicial proceedings at this juncture.
Do you expect this to be a prolonged legal battle and any remedy for people who may be affected by this in the meantime?
Honestly, we can't put a time frame. It was hours after he was inaugurated that he decided to violate the Constitution. And we have sprung to action immediately to defend the Constitution, and we will fight this battle as long as we need to. One final question. Okay, 2 final questions. 2 final questions. I'm going to go you first, and then I'll come to you, Dan, and then we're done. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In 2017, you blocked a bill that would have barred Nevada law enforcement from cooperating with federal immigration officers. Do you think Democrats in the legislature should continue to pursue that idea again?
I'm going to focus my comments on this executive order. And if you will have further follow-up questions, you can feel free to reach out to Alcenia in my office or John Sadler, and we can follow up, okay? Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
As you know, the remedies to slavery did not have remnants of the attitudes that gave rise to slavery are still with us in places. Do you worry about acts such as this perpetuating a chilling effect in immigrant communities that would go beyond what you can achieve in a court?
Dana, I referenced earlier our immigrant community, our LGBTQ plus community, and other communities of color. I recognize the trepidation, and my office will stand again as a bulwark against unconstitutional acts. You are right that there are remnants that persist to this day. Look, it's not lost on me that Mr. Trump issued this decision on Martin Luther King Day of his inauguration. One of his closest allies did a Hitler salute. These are things that should not be taken in isolation, but viewed in the context of where we are today. I won't purport to put a rationale on this particular order. I will say that, again, when Mr. President violates the laws of this country and the Constitution, I will be there to defeat him in court, and that's what we're doing in this particular litigation. Thanks, everybody. Y'all take care.
One last technical question. You referenced which the court has adjudicated a case in which a person was born to parents who were not legal immigrants, who nonetheless was awarded citizenship because of the fact that they were born on U.S. soil.
Steve, you violated my rule. I said I had one more question, and I have entertained that last question, but I'm happy to follow up with you offline and further respond to any other questions anyone may have, okay? Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, it's on my.